Let's talk about Skittles and reconciliation. Skittles and reconciliation. Hello, my name is Ryan Whitley, and I'm the pastor of Crosspoint Church, and you're watching my monthly vlog that I send to my parishioners. And here it is, June 2024, and I make this vlog each month from my backyard, regardless of the weather or the season, and regardless of the train that's passing by. So I got to tell you about this story of reconciliation that happened to me the first Sunday in June. One of the mantras, one of the core values we have at Crosspoint is we do not talk about people, we talk to people. And I share with my people all the time that if I've ever offended them in any way, I want them to come and talk to me about it so that we can be reconciled. So I'm going to speak about this story in a general way, and I'm not going to use their name. But a crosspointer came to me after worship last Sunday and said, "Hey, I had something happen between the two of us, and I feel like I need to talk to you about it. But I want to talk about it in a way where we both accept responsibility." Well, they got my attention there. And the story is basically this crosspointer came to me and asked me to visit her father, who was sick and in the final stages of life, and to pray with him and with her. Now, she admitted that her timing was not really good because it was the day before I was to leave for Europe to see my children last spring. And she said, when we ended the conversation, we talked about that when you got back from Europe, that we would reconnect and that you would come and pray with my dad and me. And then she said, but you also said that you would send a staff member. And then she made this comment. She goes, "We're both at fault." She goes, "I knew that you were leaving for Europe and there was no way you could remember that." And she said, "And I didn't remind you when you got back in town." And she was coming to be reconciled with me. She didn't want that to be an issue between the two of us. You have no idea how much I appreciate the spirit in which she said that and her reason for saying that. It was to be redemptive. It was to be redemptive in the relationship she had with me. And then she added this. She said, "Is there something that I can do or that we can do in the future so that this doesn't happen again?" Now that's a sincere question, because I have had that happen before. I've had people tell me things and I've forgotten them. And then she made the admission. She said, "I don't see how you keep up with everyone in this church anyway." And I don't, and I can't, which is why we have staff members and Bible study groups and deacons where we keep up with each other in our family of faith. And I immediately responded with a word of gratitude, thanking her profusely and saying, yeah, there's a way to handle this in the future, is to write it on your connection card, to call my assistant to let her know, to send us an email. That still doesn't make it where it won't fall through the cracks, but it certainly does help where I'm not forgetting it the day before I leave to go to Europe, as an airplane flies over my head now. So we got a train and we got an airplane and we're in my backyard. I thank that crosspointer so much because the spirit in which she came to me was so sincere. And we were reconciled. It was incredible. Now you're wondering where the Skittles come into play. Well, the entire time we're talking, her granddaughter is standing at my feet and she's asking me, "Preachy, would you like some Skittles?" And she had a Dixie cup full of about 6 Skittles. Couldn't be more than 7. And I resisted at first and I said, "No, thank you." And she offered them to me again and I said, "No, thank you." And she offered me the third time. And what did I do? I took the Dixie cup full of Skittles and turned it up and ate every last one of them. And it broke that poor child's heart. Standing right there in the hallway for plenty of crosspointers to see. And I've heard from you. Thank you. Thank you, all of you who've texted me and asked me, why did you eat that little girl, all of her little Skittles? Why'd you eat all of them? And my response is she offered me the cup, and there were only 6 in there, at the most 7. And that's a good bite for a man my age, my size. And it just broke her heart. And there was nothing I could do to assuage her grief. So I went to membership class. I ran into Lauren Suntag. I call her Fun Tag because she's fun. And I said, Lauren, I need some of those Skittles that you gave the children this morning. And she gave me probably 2 dozen bags, right? And I looked up this family's address. And as soon as worship was over with, I drove to their house. I called them. They didn't answer the phone. I rang the doorbell. They didn't come to the door. So you know what I did? I left the Skittles on their front door. I just hung them right there on the handle of their front door. And they had one of those Ring doorbells. So I'm sure they got me on video, right? I get home, and the grandmother calls me, and she said, hey, I saw you called me. And I said, yeah, I just want to let you know I left Skittles on your front porch. I had the wrong address. I started describing her house. She said, that's not our house. You went on the wrong street. And I'm thinking, how did I go on the wrong street? That's where my map, Google Maps, sent me. And she explained to me the difference between the 2 streets. So I thought, well, somebody's going to come home from church today and see a bag of Skittles on their front door, and they're going to look at their video from their Ring doorbell and see a complete stranger that's delivering Skittles to them. Oh, we had a great laugh. And I have a handful, several bags of these little Skittles to give her precious granddaughter when I see her the next time. I hope that story encourages you as much as it encourages me. Where a cross pointer came to me redemptively and said, hey, I'm at fault, you're at fault, let's get this worked out, and then let's see if we can do anything to prevent it from happening in the future. That's just one more reason why I love Cross Point Church. Because we do not talk about people, we talk to people, and we eat 1 Skittle at a time rather than 6 or 7. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love for you to reach out to me and let me know what's going on. If you have questions or comments, even if you have ideas on subjects you'd like for me to talk about in our monthly vlog. God bless you, and I look forward to seeing you on Sunday.